It's 6 o'clock, and I'm calling this regular meeting of Plainfield Charter Township Board to order. Tom Coleman is absent tonight. Can I get a motion for a President Pro Tem for tonight's meeting?
I move to nominate Sue Morrow as President Pro Tem for tonight's evening.
Okay, can I get a second for that?
Second.
Thank you, Jack. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, motion carried. Susan?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Kathy, our invocation tonight will be led by our trustee, Kathy Beatty, and then we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Would you please pray with me? Father God, we thank you for the richness of our lives in Plainfield Township. We know that there are so many who are so much less fortunate. We know, Father, that this comes from your hand, and we are grateful. We ask that you would put your hand upon Bill as he is not feeling well, and you would touch him and his health. And Father, you would guide us with great wisdom. You are wisdom, and allow us to make the right decisions for this township, for this community. And we ask that in your Son's name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As we begin the agenda, the first item is public comments. If you have something that you'd like to address, the subject that you'd like to bring to the board's attention, you can go over to the podium over here, and please state your name and address and what your subject is. This is not a question and answer time. This is a chance for the public to make their comments. And if something needs to be responded to, we'll do that at a later date. Is there anyone who has any public comments? Any comments? Seeing no one, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Are there any questions, comments on the consent agenda? A motion would be in order.
I move to approve the agenda, including the consent agenda and accounts payable.
Thank you. And the support?
Support.
We're going to take the support from Kathy Beatty. Any more discussion of the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. I'm sorry, it's a roll call. Why do I always make that mistake? Roll call vote, please.
Okay, Mr. Hagedorn?
Yes.
Mr. Pfaff?
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow?
Yes,
Ms. Beatty?
Yes.
Ms. Lowenthal, yes.
thank you very much. We have a guest with us tonight with a presentation about the Grand River Greenway, and we're happy to have you. And are you introducing him, or is Bill, or what's going on?
I'm happy to introduce Ben.
Good.
So Ben Swayze is now with the Kent County Parks Department, formerly the manager of Cascade Township. I first became acquainted with Ben 11 years ago when he beat me out for that job. So
And
Ben's-
we're glad.
Ben's been a colleague for a long time. I'm very happy to work with him at Kent County, so I can continue working with him. And I'm really excited to see him in this role leading the Parks Department. So he's going to talk to us about the county's initiative for the Grand River Greenway project. So go ahead, Ben.
Great. Thank you, Cameron. And I have appreciated your both personal and professional friendship over the years. I've leaned on you a couple times, and you've always been there, so thank you. Really excited to be here today to talk to you about what's going on in Kent County Parks. As Cameron mentioned, I recently came over to Kent County Parks from Cascade Township. I've been with the organization for about 7 months now. But I was fortunate to come over at a time where we have a lot of really transformative projects going on. And there really isn't any that are more transformative than our Grand River Greenway Trail project. So essentially what this is an effort to build 23 miles of new trail in Kent County. It'll essentially connect the White Pine Trail in Plainfield Township to the Fred Meyer Grand River Valley Rail Trail in Ionia County, which is at the Lowell Township border. So, and the project is part of a broader effort to complete a 76-mile Grand River Greenway in Kent County. And then once it's completed, there'll actually be a 171-mile continuous trail running from Grand Haven all the way to Owasso. And to visualize, let's see here, how how do I move forward? There we go. So this is a map basically of the broader Grand River Greenway Trail as it would come from Grand Haven all the way to and through the city of Grand Rapids. So you can see a couple key points here on the map. There we go. So it starts over here in Grand Haven at Grand Haven State Park. All along the river here, there's a couple spots, even when you get through Grand Rapids and beyond, where you're able to pull out if you're on the river as part of the lower Grand River Water Trail. It does come to the Grand Valley State University property. It does go through Millennium Park, through the River Edges Trail in Grand Rapids, all the way up through Riverside Park, and then hops on the White Pine Trail for a while before the part where we would start building would be at the White Pine Trail at Rogue River. And then this line here follows essentially new sections of trail where it would connect up to the existing trails in Ada Township and then come out of the south at Ada Township and follow the Grand River Drive along the Grand River to Lowell, the Grand River Valley Rail Trail, and beyond. A couple key points. It'll connect up to the North Country Scenic Trail in Lowell. That's actually the national headquarters of the North Country Trail, so very excited about that. The White Pine Trail obviously goes to Cadillac, so an opportunity to go to the north, and then of course out to Ionia to the east. So this is hot off the presses. So this is our draft final routing map for the sections that we are attempting to build. So we worked with Prine and Newhoff on this. There's still a couple tweaks that we need to make to the map, but this essentially is a detailed vision of the new sections of trail that need to be built. Again, starting at the White Pine Trail and Rogue River. A couple pieces to point out. We are anticipating building a tunnel under Northland Drive at Rogue River to have grade separation for our trail there. We essentially want to eventually want to connect out to Cannonsburg ski area. Cannon Township has plans to build a trail from Cannon ski area to connect up to Cannon Trails in Cannon Village, just to the west of Townsend Park. And you'll be able to continue on that trail system north out of Cannon Township. Again, the idea right now is to come down Pettis, though we do have a couple alternative routes that get closer to the river that we're interested in pursuing. We connect up to, right now, the Ada Township trails come to Knapp Street and 2 Mile. As part of this project, we are going to build a pedestrian bridge over the Grand River at Knapp Street as well. So if you've tried to traverse that bridge, not in a car, it's very precarious. There's not a lot of shoulder width there. And that'll actually connect up to a series of trails in Ada and Grand Rapids Township on the west side of the river as well. Currently, this trail meanders down Pettis, goes through Chief Hazy Cloud Park, and Ada Township is currently working on making the connections from Chief Hazy Cloud Park into and through their village area. So once you get into the Ada area, we're actually planning 2 trails, one that would come along the river in a series of parks that Ada Township and Cascade Township owns, and another one that would follow the roadway because these parks are notorious for flooding several times during the year, so to have an alternate route as well. So this is a long stretch of trail that would need to be built along Grand River. We're currently working on a couple different options through there. There is a active, though seldomly used, rail that goes through there. We're looking at possibly a rail with trail instead of a rails to trails, where there'd be a rail next to the active railroad line. There's really only 2 cars, I think 2 cars a week that go between King Milling and Amway. But we're also looking at other alternatives as well, including going along the river or in the road right away. And then eventually connect up again to the Grand River Valley Rail Trail here. And we have a planned connection to the south to 2 parks. There's a Kent County Park, the Lowell Regional Green Space, that's at Cascade Road and Alden Nash. and also the Kent County Youth Fairgrounds are down on Cascade Road in the area as well. So to be able to take the trail south, and this is actually the existing North Country Trail route right now. We're also investigating an alternate route. There is an abandoned railway that basically meanders between the Kent County and Ionia County border through here, working with the DNR and MDOT right now to see if we could possibly secure that abandoned railway as a route instead of the road. But that is a road route that's highlighted there right now. So where we are in the process, we put together an alliance basically with the county, the road commission, and all the communities that the Grand River Greenway is going to go through. We appreciate Plainfield Township participating in the process. We spent the past couple months basically developing the map that you saw beforehand. So we're going through a couple tweaks. We are going to have a public input process on that to get some feedback, as well as letting the residents know that this is coming. But we anticipate basically first quarter this year moving into the first phase of construction, which would be our construction engineering. So we anticipate that for most of 2024, we'll be going through construction engineering. We're anticipating a lot of construction in 2025 and 2026. And our goal right now is to be connected basically from the White Pine Trail at least to the Ada Township trails by the end of 2026. Concurrently, Ada Township is working on their internal trails as well. So hopefully in the next couple of years, they'll be able to complete that and you'll be able to get south out of Ada by the end of 2026. So not only do we have the trail, but we have a couple of key pieces of infrastructure that we are working on as part of the project. We talked a little bit about two of them. So we're anticipating a tunnel under Northland Drive at Rogue River. We actually have a meeting with MDOT and the Road Commission scheduled for the first half of this month to talk about that. That project cost is estimated at $6 million. Engineering on that is to begin in early 2024, and we're estimating a 2024 and 2025 construction for that project. The other one that I talked about was a pedestrian bridge on Knapp over the Grand River. That project cost is estimated at $7.5 million. This project right now is actually fully funded between Ada Township and Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc., and a ARPA pass-through grant that they got. So engineering is going to begin on this project as well in early 2024, and estimated construction for that is 24-25 as well. The last piece of infrastructure is a pedestrian bridge between Roselle Park in Ada Township and Chief Hazy Cloud Park, which is a Kent County park. If you've been to the Riverside parks in Lowell Township, they have the park-to-park bridge there that crosses their two parks, and we're using that for inspiration right now. But that is essentially what we're anticipating to be the brochure front piece of infrastructure for this project. So that project cost is estimated at $6.5 million. We are currently doing our conceptual and preliminary engineering, but we also anticipate raising the money for this project through private philanthropy. So we're estimating 2025 or 2026 construction once those funds are raised. So a couple other things. We're anticipating at Johnson Park, which is down near Millennium Park in Walker. This will really be the west end of the Kent County trail system, and we're developing an enhanced trailhead here. So it is currently a pretty big park. It has an undersized parking lot. So we're looking at a 50% increase in the available parking, additional biking infrastructure, a 4-season restroom renovation, and completing an open shelter in the park as well. That part of the project is funded through county ARPA funding. It's partially engineered. We're working on architectural services right now, and estimated construction for that is going to be 24-25. And as part of that project, we're planning on creating Johnson Park mountain bike trails as well. That project cost is estimated between $250,000 and $350,000, and we're currently working through the fundraising for that part of the project. We're also looking at a trailhead at Chief Hazy Cloud, which will essentially be the halfway point of the section of trail that we are building. So the halfway point from the White Pine Trail and Rogue River Drive to the Grand River Valley Rail Trail will be Chief Hazy Cloud. So besides that park-to-park bridge, we're anticipating putting in a trailhead and restroom, kind of where that bridge will cross over on the Chief Hazy Cloud park side. And then we're also looking at the creation of some equestrian and natural surface trails and trailhead parking as well. So try to keep that separated from the regular parking so that the people that want to ride their horses in the park have a separate area. So where are we on the project? So right now, we've raised a significant amount of funds. We have $33.5 million in public funding committed. That includes a $10 million ARPA fund allocation from Kent County. It includes the $16 million of the DGRI grant. So their grant was for $55 million, and they dedicated $16 million for our portion of the project. Most of that money is going into the Greenway, but it's also going into areas in the city as well. So they have some strategic connections they need to make, and they're doing some park work in front of the museum and where the amphitheater is going to go and a couple other places as well. We currently have in the current budget a federal appropriation of $500,000 that we're working through the process. Federal funding is never easy it's one thing to get allocated it, it's another thing to actually get that money. So we're working through that project. And then again, between Ada Township and DGRI, there's $7.5 million committed to the Knapp Street Bridge. That's in addition to that $16 million. So we're continuing to seek public funding, local municipal partners, state and federal appropriations, local and federal state grants. And then a big part of our continued fundraising is going to be private philanthropy. So there is a 501c3 arm of the Kent County Parks Organization, the foundation. The Kent County Parks Foundation finished a fundraising feasibility study at the end of last year, found that there was a lot of excitement in the private philanthropy community for this project. So we're actually moving into hopefully raising some funds now. So I've got a series of meetings set up in January and February, and we'll be working on raising those funds. Which brings me full circle back to why I'm here today. So first, obviously, I wanted to talk to you guys about the project that's going on and get any feedback that you may have. But I did have an opportunity with Bill to talk to the Parks and Trails Committee late last year to ask that they recommend to you that the South Rogue River Trail, is it the South Rogue River Trail? Is that the name of it? Yeah. The South Rogue River Trail be elevated to top priority for Plainfield Township. So it's very obviously a key piece of this, to get through Plainfield Township. Understand that it's been in your master plan for a while. So we are asking Plainfield Township to elevate that to a top priority and take the lead on the project. I do understand, just like other communities, that funding is limited. So basically at this point, we've committed that though we're asking Plainfield Township to take the lead on it, we understand that once the engineering is done and the budget's put together, that there may be a need for additional funding to kind of close those gaps. So we're certainly interested in being a partner. We're not asking the township to fund anything for the Northland Tunnel or anything on the east side of Northland Drive. So we're going to take care of all of that as we work through that project. And as we work through our engineering, I'll be in touch with Cameron and Bill periodically to make sure you guys have updates on how that project is going on. So with that, I promised I would try to get through so we can all get home and watch the football game, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the people in the audience? Not tonight. We'll move on to questions from board members. Kathy, would you like to start?
I'd just be interested to hear Bill's input on this as far as making the South Rogue River Trail a priority and your thoughts on how all this is.
You want it now, or I have it under new business
Oh, okay. Well, you can wait for then.
when my thunder comes.
Okay, I won't steal your thunder, sorry. Oh, I will anxiously wait that then, that's all.
Kathy?
I'm going to wait for Bill's thunder also.
Okay. Frank?
I'm all set, thanks.
And Jack?
I told the board that I would have a dozen questions so that we could not get out in time for the Michigan game.
Oh,
Uh-oh, all right.
He cut his,
I lied.
he cut his mic.
I think it's an exciting and ambitious project, and I appreciate all the work you're putting into it. And I've got some questions for Bill, but I certainly will make sure we get out in time for Michigan.
Great.
So you're going to hold the questions for Bill's portion?
Ones I have, yeah.
Good. It isn't a question, but this weekend I took a very slow drive on Jericho. We have a new part of our trail project almost finished. It looked like there were some pipes along this way, but it's absolutely fascinating how they can turn what looks like a hill into a beautifully manicured engineering to meet the needs of people who are living near the trail with different kinds of fencing, whether it's vertical and you can see through it, or whether it's the wood fencing or the different stone structures. I've been paying a lot of attention to Airway, which was interesting, but Jericho is a whole different project. And if you haven't, I couldn't even think about walking it, but it was totally fascinating, every bit of it. And so that's what I have to build on, and this is just very, very exciting. One comment, and I have to admit, my husband said, be sure to tell you. He's a distance biker.
Okay.
And they're always trying to figure out where they can take a long trip and stay overnight. So
Yeah.
just put that in your memory bank, that
Yep.
every once in a while, if there's an inn somewhere or something like that, that there's a group of people who like that distance biking.
Yeah. One of the things that we're also working on too is we talked a little bit about the origin of this trail system in Grand Haven. So it actually originates at the Inema Explorers, I don't know, is it Adventure Camp or Explorers Camp, but they actually put a campground with a series of yurts in at essentially the very west end of the trail. So again, we're planning on making that connection to the Kent County Youth Fairgrounds. They have a campground there as well. They're talking about different phases. So we do plan on eventually using that as a bit of recreation tourism. Like, hey, you can go from Grand Haven, come to Kent County, you can spend the night, you can go back. So that's, certainly an option, but we're hoping that this will also spur economic development along the trail as well. So we've seen, the breweries pop up along the White Pine Trail, and I think it's clear, especially when you're now going to have that 171 miles, that people are going to latch on to some of those opportunities too. So,
Well, I'll let them know.
all right.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for your presentation. We look forward to hearing every bit of the incremental steps along the way. Thank you
Definitely.
very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to the agenda with the trail update from our community director. Are we starting with Cameron? Are we starting with Bill? Okay.
Yeah, I can take it from here. Thought I'd throw this on the agenda tonight because it complements this exact information that Ben provided us here. So we had Ben come before the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee back in end of November to do the same presentation. Got a little bit more information tonight based on that last map, which he said was fresh off the press, but we knew the gist of everything. So the committee got to hear that, and then the committee also discussed which we do this time of year, what should they recommend, because it's ultimately your decision board, what should be our next trail project. And it basically, with this opportunity with the county and working with other governmental units for this whole thing, was a no-brainer. So the committee did, all of them recommended, supported that, and made a recommendation to the township board that you bless this as our next project, the South Rogue River Road Trail, which is on the master plan map. You can see it goes from the White Pine Trail to Northland Drive. That's it. That was originally the vision for all of that. As you see, as part of the county's plan, they're coming in, and when Ben says, hey, we're going to take care of east of Northland Drive, that's great. That wasn't even on our trails map. So that's something they're going to cover, financially pay for that. That means going either down 7 Mile to Brewer, dropping south down Brewer to Canonsburg Road, or going down the Northland Drive, Wolverine Boulevard right there once they get across underneath where the tunnel is going to go, or possibly going through the Boulder Creek residential development. So the exact design for that has not been determined yet, but that's going to be coming to a head here in the next year, as Ben said, when they get onto the construction stuff. So back to our chunk. So what I'll be doing is either at the next meeting or the January 22 workshop or the February 12th meeting, I'll have on your agenda a request to authorize a proposal from Prine and Newhoff to begin surveying and engineering of the South Rogue River Trail. That's all we're being asked to do right now. So we'd be doing that anyways. So it would not be, that trail is not going to be constructed in 2024, but we want to get the surveying out there. It's going to take a while, get everything on paper and all ready to go. And then eventually we'll be coming back to the board asking for approval to fund it through the trails millage. That's where we'll go through the bidding process. But we don't know the exact path yet of what we're, no pun intended, but for the financing, because we might share in some cost with the county. But I don't think we're going to get it done any faster, any more affordable than working with them on this whole thing. And also at the table is the Kent County Road Commission. Excuse me. They're, my understanding is they're looking to do some work on the bridge over Rogue River. And right now, it would cost close to like estimated about $450,000 to $500,000, $500,000, just to do bridge work there, to expand it, to expand it to accommodate a trail. That's a lot of money, but maybe the county's willing, the road commission's willing to include that. So got a bunch of partners coming together in this whole thing. So stay tuned on that. So in one of the upcoming meetings, you're going to be asked to approve, hey, let's get this thing designed on our end. And I think that helps the county keep going on all these other parts, but there's a lot of parties involved. I mean, the timing is perfect because this was kind of on our radar screen anyways. So in a nutshell, that's it. I think Ben did a great job showing how this little piece of trail falls into the big puzzle. And the timing with this is a great opportunity.
Thank you very much. Cameron?
Just like to add on to that, that the partnership between Plainfield and Kent County really works. We can help each other on this. We've got this piece that we had already planned to do that helps fit within their network. This tunnel is not something we'd ever dreamed of doing. You saw that price tag of potentially $6 million. That for us and our trails millage, that's more than we'll probably accumulate in a 10-year of the entire millage. We just can't accomplish a project that big with the dollars that we have. So this takes us beyond what we had dreamed up initially here in terms of ease of use, crossing Northland Drive. Our plan had always been to bring people south across the river, cross at a stoplight into Versluis or something like that. We never had a good way to get people safely across that very busy road. This really enhances our trail system as well as connect it to neighboring trail systems. Cannon and Ada have done a great job with their trail systems already. We need a way to get our trail system connected with theirs. So it's a great partnership here.
Good. Any more comments? Well, thank you very much. We appreciate your presentation. We appreciate, Bill, your presentation and also all the work that you're doing with the committee. And we are very, very excited about it.
I do want to add too, our new employee Joe is a great find for this whole thing too, because he's managed several miles of trails on the other side of the state. So he's going to be my partner in crime with this whole thing. So he was a great find for this whole thing. And he was, when he came aboard, 2 weeks later, we had that Parks and Rec committee meeting. So we got him running right away. So that's going to add to our staff network here.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Moving on with the agenda. Are there any questions? I'm sorry,
You wanted to cut me off, I know that.
I had a quick glance down. Frank, do you have any comments or questions for
I'm all
Bill?
set, thanks.
How about you, Jack?
I'm probably premature with these questions, but I'm going to ask them anyway. Is the Blythefield Country Club still on board with sharing in this possible trail?
We're going to find out. We've held off on going to talk to them. Right now, I think all we need from them are easements, which would save us hundreds of thousands of dollars. But we wanted to get our game plan together for this, and our plan was to approach them, I think in the next month or so, to say, hey, and they've known about this. We've talked to them about easements. We've talked about, oh, you're going to have to build the trails. So I think they're going to be, I would hope, very cooperative with giving us easements, permission to use their property. So that'll save us lots of money on retaining walls, et cetera. So
I wouldn't be shy about asking them for money because that trail will be a big help when the golf tournament is on. They have a huge traffic problem there.
Well, and I think they can save us close to $800,000 just with easements alone. That's huge. I mean, there'd be a comparable, so.
The other thing, when you make your presentation for formal approval of this, I would appreciate a big picture view in terms of where you're at with the 10-year millage, how many years are left in it, what do you anticipate that we'll be able to do with that, and, you know, all of that. You know,
Great point.
comments are needed now, but I'd like to know that.
Well, if I could take the opportunity, we have on your schedule, I think, what is it, March 11th, Cameron, is a workshop with the Parks and Rec Committee. It could be. I saw it on the thing today. We were talking, Cameron and I, about it's time for the board and the Parks and Rec Committee to get together, that the millage is 10-year millage, approved in 2016, expires in 2026. So we need to get our game plan together now to determine if we're going to ask for renewal, if we want to ask for more, if we want to go earlier. There's some options that we're talking to Jeff Sluggott's office about, you know, the legal things. And so that type of conversation is going to be, we're going to have an in-depth conversation in an upcoming workshop.
Thank you. Kathy, do you have any questions?
I do not. Thank you, Bill.
And how about you, Kathy?
I'm all set, thank you.
And so am I. Thank you again, everybody, for all their work on this. And come back again. Thank you. Our next agenda item is superintendent's comments.
Okay, one last follow-up there. Bill and I talked earlier. Based off tonight's conversation about the trail, we anticipate having engineering proposal back before the board in the next couple of meetings here when Brian Newhoff can put it together for us. It sounds like the feedback was positive tonight, so we'll have Brian Newhoff go ahead and put together a proposal for you to consider at a future meeting.
Are you talking about this meeting on February 12th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that Bill put in his memo, February 12th, or potentially I don't know if they can make the 22nd, probably the 12th.
It would usually be a consent agenda item, because just approving the proposal, but the budget stuff we'll get into in depth at the workshop.
Okay.
So, Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you.
Good to see you all again. A few things. This is a forward-looking superintendent's comments, less retroactive, mostly because I've been out of the office and I have no clue what's been going on. So we're going to look forward at what's going on. Jen said you don't want to know. Just look forward. So a couple things coming up. Next week, we have our Plainfield Avenue open house to talk about improvements coming for the Plainfield Avenue corridor. Just as a reminder, MDOT is planning a repaving of the street in 2025 from Interstate 96 up to Airway. Of course, we're concerned about the 4-mile to Airway portion that falls within our township. And so we have been working with MDOT and our consultants on ways to bring our Reimagine Plainfield plan to life, to enhance safety in the corridor, to enhance the aesthetic, to enhance the business attraction element. And so we've identified some ways that we think we can do that, and we want to bring that in front of the public. We talked about this at our last meeting with our consultant, and we want to pitch these to the public and see what the feedback is. Some of the ideas are going to be new to people, things like medians and a little bit of restricted access in places to avoid left-hand turns that are common collision areas. We're trying to make the road a safer road, and so actually prohibiting some left turns are going to be helpful from an engineer's perspective to do that. So we'll have that at our fire training facility on Plainfield next week, Tuesday, the 16th, from 5 to 7 p.m. It's an open house style, come and go as you please. We find that that's easier for residents, especially on a work day. They can pop in when they want. They will have the boards up on easels and people there to answer questions. That seems to work best for residents. It makes a more convenient approach for them to ask their questions instead of sitting through just one presentation. So that'll be next week. Then the following week, we, as of today, have 3 applicants for the treasurer's position. And so the governance committee is going to look at those tomorrow, put together the interview process. I'm anticipating on the 22nd at 3 p.m., I think was the time that worked for the board. Was it after 3? I thought it was 3:30. 3:30. It was after you had to. Because I have to pick up. Yep. Okay, I'll review that, what our last correspondence was. So we'll set the time after you're available. We'll do interviews with the 3 candidates. If we're looking at 20 to 30-minute interviews is typical. That should get us out in time, little break before we go into our evening session, which is a workshop with the Planning Commission. So it'll be a busy day, but we'll have a lot of material to go over, working on the interview process, and then going to the Planning Commission joint meeting. We're going to look at updates to our master plan. And so we've got some exciting things in there as well. Just to give you a little bit of a preview, we've incorporated a lot of the work from the Reimagine Plainfield plan, all that work that we've done, all that public input, all that process. We've taken pieces from that, things that the community has liked, that the board has liked, the Planning Commission has liked, and try to incorporate that into more of our master plan throughout the township. Is that a fair representation, Jack?
Yeah.
And so I think this will be a good thing for us moving forward, a little bit more cohesive mindset instead of this is how we do it on Plainfield and this is how we do it the rest of the township. It's going to be a little bit more cohesive from a planning standpoint throughout the township. So I look forward to that conversation, and it's good for the Board and Planning Commission to get together from time to time anyway and make sure we're all on the same page as we move forward in trying to guide development in our community. So a lot to do. We're jumping into it. And we're just getting started for the year. Got a lot of things on our plate. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for Cameron? Anybody? Kathy, board members' comments.
Yeah, let me just say, welcome and congratulations to the Great Soccer Society and the Care Boutique. They are the 2 businesses that now look like it's not a 1950s strip on Plainfield. And I'm just so excited. It's going to start, I hope, the momentum and things happen for the Reimagine Plainfield. So I'm excited.
Kathy.
I'm all set.
Frank.
All set.
Mr. Hagedorn.
I have nothing.
I have a couple comments. In conjunction with our efforts with the Reimagine Plainfield, we've heard now about different intersections and how cooperative people have been and the ongoing energy that's resonating up and down Plainfield Avenue. And I just hope that all of us, I don't happen to eat at Anna's house very much, but if I intend to, and find somebody that we can say thank you to so that it's not just one person knocking on their door, but that we're hearing it and we're excited for their cooperation. The Bank of America with that intersection that's going to have that significant change there. Anna's house and Bank of America were so excited that they were so ready to be so cooperative. And I can hardly wait to see how you're going to take care of 72 curb cuts. You're
We're
not
not going to
gonna,
get all 72 this
No.
time around. We're gonna pick off a few here and there.
right.
But yeah, there were 72 identified as potential closure or replacement or doing something different. A lot of that is predicated on the business owner agreeing to it. And so, and that's part of our challenge on Plainfield Avenue. We have a lot of businesses that might be chains that are owned not locally. And so getting a hold of the right person can be time consuming. You've got to get a hold of the right person at the corporate office and hope that they'll return your phone call or voicemail or email or whatever it is. So it can be very challenging to get a hold of some of these companies just to get to the right person to figure out, can we even talk about this? But we've been working through that. We've had some good success on some of them, some lesser on some others, but we'll keep picking away at it as we can.
Great. Also, the Soccer Association is moving into Grand Rapids, and on Sunday, the lights were on, and there was a lot of activity. And again, I really encourage board members to go knock on their door and say, thank you for coming to Plainfield, the care business. They weren't open when I checked, but I think part of what we can do to help keep the momentum with the Reimagine Plainfield is to be thankful for what's people that are beginning to make a difference. I don't know who our representative is at Northeast Business Association, but I hope that they're giving, do you know who it is offhand? No, you don't have a rep? No. Okay. In that case, maybe we can talk about finding one of our board members or someone to represent the township at the Northeast Business Association, because they should be just as informed as we are. They should be out thanking these new businesses. And the more we do to speak up and speak positively, the better off, maybe. Any more comments? Well, Happy New Year, everybody, and the meeting's adjourned.